Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday. Welcome to another edition of Momo Love Presents Many Voices of the Community. It's a spinoff of my weekly radio talk show called Community Voices with Momo Love alongside DJ Firebone. It can be heard every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Ablazing Radio. You can listen by downloading the free Ablazing Radio Live app or listening via the web, www.ablazingradio.com. So, since the onset of coronavirus and the dreaded COVID-19, we've been having our minds blown by so much stuff that's been going on, right? We got to mask up. We got to wipe down everything. We can't see each other. We got to, wash our hands. And, the numbers, the tests, it's just a whole bunch of stuff that we were all going through. And I was just wondering if any of my friends and family were just kind of walking around in circles. Everybody talked about being creative and all of these things. And yeah, some of that happened as well. But really and truly, I just wanted to make sure everybody was okay. It was a way for me to lay my eyes on people and just, ask them, how they're doing. And it has been so much happen. Now we have the aftermath of Brother George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd on video. I mean, video after video. And even just this past weekend, Brother Rashard Brooks, who, was just trying to get a burger. He was just trying to get a burger. And he ends up with 2 bullets in his back and dead. Just celebrating his 8-year-old's birthday, just in a blink of an eye. And it's like he knew it. And so all of that leads me to wonder, what in the world are my brothers going through? Like, what is the state of the mind of the black man right now? Because we talk about mental health awareness, and it's kind of implied that it's mostly women that we have to deal with, right? But, our brothers are going through. So, today I wanted to talk to community activist. He is a producer. He's a DJ selector, and we're going to figure out which one of those is the accurate thing to say. BWare of Revolution Sound. They are the East Coast Warriors. And we're going to get more into that as well as the projects that he puts forth, his activism in the community, and just his overall state of the black man, the mind of the black man. So go ahead. I see that you're there, sir. Just go ahead and push the request button to join, and I'll bring you right on in. We don't wait for people here. They have to catch up because we are on a mission and we don't have time to be waiting. You understand? So, so I'm just waiting for my guests to join, like I said, and we're just going to touch on some things. Usually these conversations are about 30 minutes, but I have to say the few men that I've talked to, it has gone over that, 45 minutes, almost to an hour, because sometimes you don't realize how much you need to say or what's on your heart until you get to going. But I do know that this gentleman, like I said, he is a community activist, producer, DJ selector of Revolution Sound, the East Coast Warriors. I present to you Mr. What's up?
Peace.
How are you?
I'm good.
Goodness,
This today because I'm on the road driving, and I don't know if there's a delay from what you can hear from what I'm saying.
Well, I'm hoping that everything will go crystal clear, even though you're a little fuzzy. You can hear me though, right?
Yep. Loud and clear.
Cool. So I was just letting the audience know that, I started these coping with quarantine mini chats back in May, mental health awareness, just to kind of understand where we all were. And now we have the aftermath of Brother George Floyd at the murder, and just this past weekend, Rashard Brooks, who was killed at the hands of police. And just in light of all of these recent events, I just wanted to lay eyes, especially on some of my brothers right now, and say, beware. How are you doing?
I'm blessed. I mean, can't complain. I mean, I can, but who's listening, But we don't have no time to complain. We got too much work to do. So yeah, we
Yeah,
work it. You know,
yeah,
we are fulfilling our divine assignments. That's what we're doing. You know, we're in a situation now where, I mean, for a long time, war has been declared on us, and now some of the warriors are just realizing that war has been declared on us. You know, through recent events like the George Floyd situation. So now that brothers are waking up, we have to make sure that they have the right information, they have the accurate information, so that they can move strategically and move wisely.
what do you think is going to be different this time? Because, especially as women, I'm a Black woman, of course, and I can relate, but I definitely have never walked in a Black man's shoes. I know what it feels like to not feel safe. I know what it feels like to not feel like somebody has your back, but to walk around as a Black man, and even just the Amy Coopers of the world, just because you told her something, she feels that she has the power to essentially take your life away. What is that like, walking around every day as a Black man, that most of us have absolutely no idea what you're doing?
Well, I mean, you probably have to ask each individual that question, because it depends on the brother. Whether you walk around in fear, you walk around skeptical or paranoid, because you can't live in fear. That's no way to live. So if that's the way you're moving around, you might as well just go and check out. So, but what it does for you is, like, it's just like any other living species that's aware of who its enemy is. That's when you move wisely. That's when you take the information that you have about your enemy, and you factor that into the equation on how you move, how you carry yourself, how you present yourself in the world. We know that with an enemy, that it doesn't matter what you do. Their intention is to destroy you anyway. Whether you're driving, whether you're in Walmart, whether you're an 8-year-old boy in the park, whether you're a 20-something-year-old sister just driving, coming from the supermarket, starting her life over, it doesn't really matter. But when you know who they are, you won't get caught up in, you're not supposed to do this, and this can't be happening. You know what I'm saying? Because you know it can happen, and you know they can do it.
Yeah.
So you move in a way that, and again, it's hard to say or to avoid it, but you have to move wisely. You have to, I'm going to tell you what wisely look like for me, just keeping it 100 with you. I'm driving in the car, and I see the boys 2-3 cars back. I'm pulling over at the nearest gas station, rest stop, store. Because I don't feel comfortable with them behind me. And I'm not doing nothing. I'm not illegal. But just from my personal experiences and experiences of our people in this country since day one, and experiences specifically of Black men, which we're speaking of right now, that it just doesn't make me feel comfortable. I'm not afraid of them, because if it goes down, I'll die before what I believe in, and protecting myself, defending myself with my family is something that I believe in. And as a man, that's why I'm here. That's part of being a man, to protect, to secure, and to provide. But you're living in another man's house, and you live in another man's house where his objective is, in order for you to protect, provide, and secure, he has to grant you the provisions, he has to give you the permission, or he has to tell you how to do it in a manner in which it's done. So you can't be a man of your own dignity, of your own will, of your own divine assignment. You got to be the man that your enemy says you are. And that's just not who BWare is. So if push had to come to shove, it's going down. You're going to hear about me on the news or some shit.
Now listen, but and I applaud you for that, but it took a while, right? Because I mean, think about your 19-year-old self, think about your 16-year-old self, think about your 19-year-old self, and especially in this day and age where there are so many young men watching their brothers, uncles, nephews, cousins die on tape in front of their eyes. I mean, you are having to
not have fear, even though it is fearful. You have to get to that point, that coming of manhood versus masculinity, knowing the difference. Is there a difference?
But there's definitely a difference. When you're talking about manhood, you're talking about being able to allow the masculine energy to vibrate in you at high levels. You're not just talking about bravado, which is a false sense of masculinity. When you're talking about masculinity, you're talking about securing, you're talking about providing, you're talking about leading. In order to do that, you have to have a certain level of knowledge. And the only way that you can get that knowledge is if you're taught that. So most of our young brothers and young warriors today, their fathers didn't have that knowledge, nor did their grandfathers or their great-grandfathers. So that's why many of us are void of that today. So in order for you to take that masculinity, what you have as a man or male, you're that by default. So, but it's knowledge that makes you direct that masculinity in the right areas, so that now you are demonstrating manhood.
Yeah. Did your
But
parents
the
have the
knowledge
talk
is the
with
key
you?
factor. Say again?
Did your parents have the talk with you? You know, what to do when you're pulled over by the police?
Nah, my pops. I didn't grow up with my father, so not my biological. My mom's remarried when I was like, my teens, but I didn't grow up with my biological. But prior to that, my mom's remarrying. Well, when my mom's remarried, Baba Adeyemi was a very conscious man, so that how knowledge of self and culture was always in the forefront. But prior to that, my mom is a coming out of the Black Panthers, coming out of being affiliated with the Nation of Islam and other African nationalist movements. So she always had the thing where her mindset was like, yo, you a black man, you living in America, that's two strikes against you. The way that this society, the way that this system sees it, never really taught me what to do with that or how to navigate with that, but she used to always say that. So from very young, I knew that I didn't necessarily know the dynamics and the details and the intricate history aspects, but I knew that there was something out of whack. There was something different. And once I realized that I was what the general society saw as different and out of whack as a black man, I got all of the dark skin jokes, all of the big lip jokes, all of the African jokes, and as a child, I felt really bad about that. I felt ostracized, bullied. But as an adult, coming into the knowledge of self, I realized that it was those things that made me dynamic. It was those things that made me divine and special, made in the image and likeness of the Creator. So I didn't cuss those things. I embraced those things about myself. And, and got a little arrogant, probably a lot arrogant, because, it's through your ignorance that you saw these as something to put me down.
Yeah. Because our blackness, and especially for the black male, it could either be seen as imminent danger or extremely powerful. And what you know about yourself is how you are able to use that or wield that.
But how many of us know the key thing, Momo, is that know about yourself? What is it that we know about ourselves? Most of us, if you ask someone who they are, their response is, well, my name is such and such. I'm Brian. I'm Damon. I'm Kevin. I'm Chris. Versus that's just a label. That's not who you are. If you remove that label and put another label, what are you? Are you what the new label that dictates you are? What are you from the inside out? And it's what you said is key, because this is what we don't know. This is not what we're not associated with or what we're not connected to. And this is one of the major issues, of the black man. We're talking about the state of the black man. And one of the major issues, and probably for me, up front, because I lived on that side of the fence, so I know what it's like, not being connected to the truth of who you are, not having knowledge of yourself, not knowing your history, your culture, your traditions, your spiritual philosophies, your heroes, your sheroes, not knowing those things. You know, George Washington wasn't my hero. Abraham Lincoln, John Jefferson wasn't my hero, Benjamin Franklin. So when you take me to your systems, your miseducational systems, and you program me and you indoctrinate me with that information of those people, you're not teaching me about myself. And so that's what we experienced in this country. So you have to understand, from very young we were miseducated, from babies. Yeah. And then you send up to church, and they put their little decorations on the miseducation with white Jesus and the fact that you're going to hell and all that other stuff that they preach in church. You know, by the time you're an adult, you're so fucked up, and I'm talking for myself.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I'm telling you, Momo, when I reached 18, I was like, thank you, God, I made it. Because all of the statistics and everything that I saw on television said that I wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
When I made 21, I was in prison. But I made it. I was like, damn, I can't believe I made it. Because they told me I was going to die by that time. Mm-hmm. And it was set up for me to be dead. You don't have knowledge of who you are. You don't have a knowledge of yourself. Imagine the fox or the rabbit not knowing that foxes eat rabbits. Yeah. So he's all up under the fox. He's hanging out with the fox.
But I mean, in defense of our parents, okay. I mean, and when we think about it, we are really not that far out of slavery, quote unquote, equality, Jim Crow's laws. You know, a lot of that stuff is still going on. So when you are faced with a 16 to 19-year-old young man coming of age, maybe not having any father figure, parental figure, you might even have one that might be like your Baba you mentioned, that was giving you guidance, letting you know what kind of king you were. And you still said, I hear you, but let me get up and do my thing. How, if it takes so long for a black man to find himself, how do we get to that piece of unity?
Well, I only can speak for myself, and probably there might be others that can relate to what I'm saying. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, there were so many distractions. I grew up in the crack era with a single mother in the projects, Jackie Robinson Projects in Bed-Stuy. So, focusing on knowledge and learning and culture and tradition, that just didn't have any place when you were hungry.
And trying to survive.
When you had to stand in the free cheese line, and when you had to, when you were evicted, or the lights were out and you were in the dark, that's a reality for many of us who grew up in the projects. So, dealing with those things, you will go to how you've been indoctrinated. Jesus help me, God help me, Lord Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you've been trained and that's how you've been programmed to think, versus, the theology of your ancestors, or, theology of your culture, of those whose body you lived in, or those came before you and passed life on to you. I mean, for me, you're dealing with the distractions, you're dealing with no guidance, no father figure or conscious father figure in the house. My uncles were in my life, and my grandfather, but they were street cats, so they taught me about the street. They didn't really teach me about knowledge itself and things like that. And the streets, the underworld, as Amerikkka refers to it, that's where many black men made their living. Whether it was running numbers in New York, whether it was selling that, or shining a shoe here, or, selling something, whatever it was. So, how are you supposed to get that knowledge and information when people are always in survival mode? For me, it wasn't until I went to prison and I wasn't no longer in survival mode because, well, I was at first, my first couple of years, but after a while I wised up. But, you know, once I was in the survival mode, you know, I was in self-development mode. And it was an older cat that put me on. His name was Titi, out of the Nation of Islam. And he gave me Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad. And that's the book that kind of set me on my path. So for everybody, you know, it's different. I was in a situation where I didn't like where I was at. I didn't like being in prison. You know, I didn't like what I had become. I was very aggressive and very animalistic. You know, I was doing time, and I was locked up a lot on the road, going from state to state. I wasn't at homes. I wasn't getting visits and commissaries and all that shit. So it was like I had to figure shit out in there. And my first couple of years was rough. But once I hooked up with this older brother, you know, and I really listened to him. You know, that's what set me apart. So now, you know, now I'm an OG. You know, so now, you know, I pull up on the young warriors on the street. You know, there's plenty of them. From New York to D.C., Atlanta to California, where, you know, I fuck with them Ferguson because I really connected with a lot of brothers that I worked there. In Ferguson doing the uprisings where Michael Brown was murdered by that police Darren. And
Okay, hold on. Hold on, because it's breaking up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let me ask this before you get into that, because I do want to talk about that. But before we get to that, you know, we talked about maybe the lack of support, of male support in your life. We talk, not you in particular, just the Black man. We're talking about the state of the Black man, and you know, even from childhood, you know, a little boy stubs his toe or he falls down, he's told, you know, don't cry, suck it up, be a man, like no emotions. But you know, the Black male feels, right? Do you believe in speaking to counselors, psychiatrists? Do you think the natural healing, or just, you know, praying, like, or does it just depend on who you are?
Everybody is different. Me myself personally, you know, when I'm dealing with difficulties or seeking advice or wisdom, I have no problem going to the elders, because this is a part of the African culture, is to sit at the foot of the elders for advice and for wisdom and for guidance. But that takes a certain level of humility, and the false definition of masculinity that we have been indoctrinated with here in America, they just don't coincide. You know, is there anything wrong with crying? No. And if any man out there think that there's something wrong with crying, or something wrong with them, now, if you crying because you got your feelings hurt, now there's something wrong with that. You know, someone yelled at you, or you nick your toe or your finger. I'm not talking about no punk shit. But I'm saying something like when my sister died, I cried like a baby. You know, I'm 49 years old, and if my mother cries right now to this day, I'll weep and whine. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a straight warrior. But that, you know, just because a brother displays or expresses his emotions on that level, when you experience a certain level of emotional trauma or contentment or satisfaction. I mean, I've watched movies, you know, when A Time to Kill, when Samuel L. Jackson got acquitted, and I cried. Like, you know, so not because I was sad, because I was happy. Or when OJ got acquitted, man, I didn't care nothing about OJ, shit. But it was the fact that a black man beat the system, hell yeah. So it doesn't have to be because you're sad, but you know, it's all about being able to be emotional mature. when I say emotional maturity, what I mean is being able to be in touch with how you feeling and being able to express that in a way that others can hear and understand what you're saying, whether they agree with you or not, whether they like it or not. But for a lot of brothers, it's that emotional immaturity. I mean, brothers 60, 70, 80 years old never learned how to be in tune with what you're feeling or to express that. So all they know is one emotion, anger.
Yeah. But beware, you know, I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on, man. You know, we are seeing our fathers and uncles being killed left and right, just being treated like animals in the street. And, you know, part of this state of the black man and trying to stay in a good mental health space, I mean, it includes diet, it includes exercise, it includes being able to talk to somebody and keeping yourself centered, focused, to not stay angry. How do you even go about that? What does that look like?
You know, I only can speak for myself, right? And those who love me and are close to me, they can tell you. You know, I probably drive them crazy. You know, I'm listening to Farrakhan, then I'm going to Karen Hunter. I leave Karen Hunter, I'm listening to something about Black Panthers or Black Lives Matters. And, you know, this is all day, every day for me. So it's like, you connect with those who are like-minded. You build your support circles. You connect with elders that, you know, because there's plenty of elders out here. I took my daughter to the protests in D.C., and we met up with Brother Pete, who was one of the original members of the Nation of Islam. You know, and he really had a nice conversation he built with my daughter for the time he was out there. So I'm just saying, like, seek and you shall find. Seek and you shall find. If that's where your mindset is, if that's what you want. And then for those who don't know what they want and their mindset isn't there yet, you know, you're always going to hear an elder, you're always going to hear a baba. You'll see the brothers on the corner talking about black man wake up. You'll see some video on social media. Delve into that a little bit. Research that a little bit. See who those people are and what their platform is and where they came from and how they got to that point in their life. You know, again, in the individual, there has to be a need to know or a need for self-development, a yearning for knowledge, a yearning for being better. And again, I don't know, I can't speak for all black men, but many of our brothers just don't have that yearning or need. They don't have that humility. You know, right now, you know, I go sit at the foot of my barbers, and I just sit and talk to them. I mean, and listen. You know, and they'll talk to me for hours. Just like when I'm with my young boys, I'll probably be in their ear for hours. But that's how it is. That's part of African culture. Each one teach one. And part of being a man is you're born a teacher. So this is what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're not doing it, then what the fuck are you doing? Excuse the expression. You're just taking up space and time. At this particular point, complacency is no excuse. It's either you moving with us or you not moving with us. And if you're not moving with us, then you with them. Period. There's no middle ground here. And I ain't afraid to say that.
You don't think there's a role for everybody?
Yeah. Nah, I don't. I always hear this thing about we need to unite, man. I gotta be graphic at times so you can understand what I'm saying. Fuck that unite shit. You can't unite with motherfuckers that's on the other people's team. You can't unite with unminded people. You can't unite with poison meat eaters. You can't unite with people who are they rather have Gucci red bottoms and they want their social status and likes and posts and comments and shit versus being on the front lines and putting that work in and putting their life on the line. How can you unite with somebody like that? They're going to leave you dead on the battlefield. And that's not what you do with your comrades. You don't leave no man behind. So, since we don't leave no man behind, I can't bring motherfuckers on the team that don't think, move like me. It's just that simple. I ain't trying to unite with everybody.
Well, what if I'm not able to pick up a gun, but I can type up a letter? I can't join your team.
But that's not like-minded. Everybody's not a battlefield warrior. You got people that's going to be cooking in the kitchen.
Okay.
You got people that's going to, but when I say like-minded, you know that your life, you're here. You realize that you are part of an oppressed people. There are certain responsibilities that come along with that knowledge. When you know that, what do you do about it? What are you passing on to those who are coming behind you? How are you preparing them to deal with this enemy? You ain't got no time to be wasted at all.
Now you say you're African man, but there's many Africans who say that we are not Africans, that African Americans are lazy or Black Americans are lazy. How are we going to mesh together? Because truth be told, if we all standing on the street, nobody knows who anybody is until we start opening our mouths.
Right. Well, you understand that there's a couple of factors that speaks to what you just said. The first fact is that divide and conquer has always been a war trade. If you know the art of war, you understand that that's something that's always been by the art of war by help me out here, Mama.
I know what the book is. I don't know.
It's Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu. That divide and conquer is always a strategy, because that makes the enemy weak. So if we're being divided, then we're being conquered. That's the first thing. The second thing that's on play here is that fast forward to here in America, where most of our brothers and sisters who live in Africa or the Caribbean, they only know us through the lens of a television camera or a movie camera. And what they see is Boys in the Hood and Bloods versus Crips and Menace to Society, what I'm saying? Or they seeing the gangsters, or they're seeing all of the rappers who trying to be gangsters, and all of the rappers are rich and they bling bling and they got a bunch of women and they got gold chains and they throwing money on naked women, and that's what they see of us. And our people don't realize what kind of message that sends out. So this is the message that it sends out. When our brothers and sisters come over here, them Black Americans, just like what you said. That's when they look at that behavior. What in that behavior says I'm African? What in that behavior says I'm connected to who I am? What in that behavior says I'm consciously aware? What in that behavior says I'm fighting or working to liberate my people mentally, emotionally, spiritually here in America? What in that behavior? Nothing. You let the enemy use you to poison your people's mind. You learn through two things, through what you see and through what you hear. So we listen to all of the rappers. What the hell are they talking about? That's what our brothers overseas are listening to.
Yeah.
So they're making the movies. What are all of the movies about?
Rapping.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. You calling out women bitches. The hoes, the women are half naked in the video, dancing and twerking like that shit is cute. You throwing money on them and what? Like, come on, man. Black people. And that's our family looking at this thing now. We don't want no parts of that shit. But you got to remember, also the divide and conquer thing kicks in. When I went to South Africa one year, and I went up in the bush to go get some of my herbs. What we going straight? 475, sorry. Okay, check for us. So, baby girl, big up, I see you. So, as we are, I'm in South Africa, and I went to go get my herbs up in the mountain. There's a bunch of little young boys, my son's age. And the guy says, I got my friend here from America, he's from New York. He come to see you guys get some herbs. He says, oh, wow, from America? Yo, my nigga. You come over here to get some of these bitches? I was shocked. I'm like, man, where you got me at, man? Where'd you bring me at, man? These little young brothers, man, need to be mindful of what you're saying, man. Where you get that from anyway? Where you learn that from?
Watching.
So this is not something that I read in a book. This is from my own personal experiences
Yeah.
of the methods and how we're separated from our people. So yeah, when they come over here, they're gonna say Black Americans, and they think we're lazy, and they think that we're not taking advantage of these opportunities. But shit, if you got motherfuckers knees on your neck your whole life, how you gonna get up? How you gonna take advantage of the opportunities? So that's the factor that they don't look at, and this is why I get upset with my brothers and sisters from Africa and the Caribbean, because y'all come over here and y'all be like, oh, Yankee this, Black American that. But look what we've been dealing with here in America. Literally, you guys think that the police is rough over there? You guys have been seeing how the police are over here, and we've been dealing with this all of our life.
All of our life.
So this is not a
a short life.
You got to understand the police are an occupying force. That's their origin. The police, the origin is to keep black people in their proper place in a white premise system. That's the purpose of them. So when you see them killing black people, that shit ain't new. When you see them killing our women, that ain't new. It's always been that way. So let's not be surprised and shocked.
But I will still keep going back to how we unify, how we use our black dollars, and most importantly, how can the black woman support the black man?
I was talking about this last night, and I gotta say kudos to Spike Lee. Spike Lee's movie Chirac, I think that really set a tone, because in the movie, big up Spike Lee, Robert Spike. He in the movie, all of the women in Chicago doing when they were calling Chicago Chirac, they say, look, man, no sex, no parts of the pum pum. You ain't touching us. Don't think about it until all that violent shit stops.
Wow.
I like that.
You
Women
do?
are the culture. Yes, women are the culture bearers for the community. No nation can rise higher than its woman. So, with that being not just a nice thing to say, that's a fact. Because why is that? Because all of us are born through a woman. Men, women, everybody. We all come from a woman. Every leader, every killer, every politician, you name them. Biden, Trump, all of them. Me, you. So, with that being said, you can't rise no higher than that. So you want to rise your women up. But that's not what our people do with our women. And our women, they're complacent in the bullshit. They show up half naked all the time. Everywhere you go, I got to see titties and asses. I got to look at your underwear and shit while I'm in the fucking supermarket trying to get coconuts. Your titties is hanging out, your nipple. I'm like, I'm designed by nature to be compelled towards you. I'm a natural man. So when you show up like that, you're not feeding my mind. Imagine, Momo, everywhere you go, please excuse the expression, but I gotta be graphic because I want you to understand me. Everywhere you go, you seeing dicks. Big dicks, little dicks, humongous dicks, extra large dicks. It's gonna be a time when you're gonna be like, you know what, I want one of them dicks. Let me try one of them dicks. Cause they all around you. Everywhere you go. It's no coincidence that our brothers and sisters over in the Middle East and over in Northern Africa and Eastern Africa, their women don't dress like that. They're not naked. They ain't trying to, matter of fact, our women pay a lot of money for a little bit of material. You can be a fashion entrepreneur, a fashion expert, a fashion connoisseur, and teach our people the proper means of fashion, the historical terms in fashion, how our queens and kings and our great heroes and sheroes that came before us, that preceded us, how they showed up in the world. That's what you can do. Not follow the European Western version of nakedness and sexual promiscuity. That's foolishness. But that's what our people do. More miseducation. So, I ain't trying to unite with everybody, Momo.
I see.
I'm not.
And, this is just part of what this whole series is about. I mean, sometimes you men don't have a chance to get these things off your chest. And I am not here to put my 2 cents in on how I feel. I just wanted to hear what your thoughts were. Everybody knows that you are a DJ selector. What's the difference, DJ selector?
DJ is more of the American term. In dancehall, reggae, we refer to as selectors. You're the person that's selecting the music, selecting which way you want to move the crowd or move the event or the dance or the party.
Yeah.
You get to select and choose that. So it's still the same thing ultimately, but I'm a little biased towards selector because selectors, most American guys are DJs. And American DJs don't really they don't really have to play reggae music. But we have to play hip hop. So many of us, a lot of, Caribbean selectors, we know many, many genres of music well. I can sit in the car and drive on the road and I'm playing straight 70s hits and 60s hits, soft rock or Motown or, what I'm saying, golden oldies, and I'm singing it word for word. We have to know that music, different from American DJs where they don't have to know our music. You can go with a playlist and play the top 10 reggae songs and probably throw 2 Afro beats in there, maybe 2 soca songs, and then you're done with your Caribbean set for the night. You back to your hip hop and. But not us. You at a reggae party, somebody's coming out. Hey, do you got little baby? Hey, do you got the baby?
Now, isn't that interesting? We don't even get into that. But I also want you to talk to us about your new project, Carib Life, ATL. What's that about?
Wow.
Can you talk about it?
Yeah, I can talk about it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the sneak preview.
Okay.
Carib Life ATL is it's like my pet project. It's really my passion project.
Okay.
It's about the Caribbean community in Atlanta. I believe that is a very thriving, very progressive, very grounded community, Caribbean community. Unlike others in America, there are plenty of Caribbean communities, but this is one of the most progressive ones that I've seen. It's very young. Unlike, say, New York, that's an older Caribbean community. They've been around for a long time. Or Miami, Atlanta is fairly new,
Okay. Uh-oh. 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 This is a bad area wherever you're driving in.
in Atlanta, and we allow them to tell their story. We don't tell them what to say or what to do or where to go. Unlike other reality shows, that's very, even though reality shows are called reality, you have scripted and then you have non-scripted. And even non-scripted is still scripted to a certain extent. But this is purely unscripted. We just turn the cameras on and kind of let them go. And let what unfolds is what unfolds. And what unfolded was Carib Life ATL.
Okay. Well, we'll look for that, and we're hoping that our people are presented in a beautiful light.
Okay. And I want to say this. Any brothers listening or that's going to listen to this, this is your brother speaking to you. And if you don't know me, you don't have to know me. Just hear what I'm saying to you. This is a time like no other time since there was a time. It has been a time for our people. And what I mean by that is that it's time for us to really step up. And when I say step up, whatever you call God, that's not what I'm here to debate you on. Whatever religion you want to choose. whatever your spiritual philosophy is. That's not what I'm arguing, but at the end of the day, we still men. And as a man, there's certain responsibilities and accountabilities that we have to our family and community. And we have been lacking in those responsibilities for a long time. A lot of it isn't, just by our own virtue or lack of. It's because of the way that the system that we live in is set up. But it's a time now where to be unaware and to be sleeping is no excuse. We've all been warned. Someone has said something to us at some time that we chose to ignore. So I'm just asking you, dig a little deep, find that place in your spirit that Creator talks to you, that the Creator tries to compel you and move you in a certain direction. Because right now, that's what our ancestors in life is doing for us right now. It's compelling us and moving us in a certain direction. It's calling us, all of us, And the answer is to answer. That's the answer. So we got to get it popping. If you don't know how to get it moving, you hit me up. You know what I'm saying? My name is on here. Hit me in the DM or the inbox. I love building. I love talking. I love sharing what I know. We can make it happen. So let's get it popping. We ain't got no time to be scared. If you're gonna be scared, stay your ass at home. Stay on the other side, so we know what the enemy is. Because fear is our enemy. Period. And sometimes it shows up in the form of your brothers and sisters. And you got to be able to identify it when you see it. No, don't do that. Well, I don't know about that. But I'm not sure. That's not the space we're in right now. We have to be strategic. We have to be wise.
A lot of times people don't want to speak up for lack of a better word, fear of alienation, fear of losing friends.
But you know what I'm saying? But wait, Mama, hear me good. This is not that time for fear. This is just not that time. There's no space and place in there for that. And I'm not saying that we got to go on the field, or the battlefield, and be fighting police and all that shit either. But your war could be at home, with raising your children, with being in your children's life, with your baby moms. In your community with the drug dealers on the corner. That's if anybody on the corner selling drugs in 2020, like really? Like people are still selling crack to their people. Like we still do that shit? You need to shoot yourself.
Which goes into the conversation, and we don't have a lot of time. Instagram is not going to let us stay on here. I got 2 more questions.
All right.
Let's talk about Black Lives Matter, right? Yet here in DC, we just witnessed a shootout at like 5 o'clock in the evening on a Friday. And what is this difference? Is there a difference? And do those people come with us, or do we kick them to the side because they don't value their own people's, their own family's life? How do we connect those dots, or are they not connected at all?
What gets my attention and what moves me, is warrior shit. I know when in the 5% nation or Nation of Islam, when you are out of order, your brothers, they discipline your ass. Is that what's needed here? That we discipline our own? Definitely. Because if we don't do it, then they're going to do it. And you know how they discipline our people. And we need every hand on deck. We need every boots on the ground. So we got to call our people on that. And again, you can't be complacent. You know what I'm saying? And you see what's going on and you do nothing. You act like you don't see it. You turn a blind eye. You turn your face like it's immune. You turn your eye away from our brothers and our children and our women down in the street. You're part of the plan. That's what I mean by saying that you're with the enemy. There ain't no time for complacency. So, with that being said, everybody has to do something. Everybody's not going to protest. I went out there and protest, but I ain't really trying to go to jail for doing that. But if I have to, I will. But
Okay.
You know, everybody's not going to, like you said, what if I'm an admin person? So this is what Joe Madison says every morning on Sirius XM. What are you going to do? So, I'm going to pass that question on. What are you going to do?
Okay. I love it. I ask myself that every single day as well. Coronavirus is still out there, regardless that all of these things are happening. Here in Maryland, I'm in Prince George's County, Maryland, and they're going into phase 2. So it means that pretty much we're officially open, right? You can eat inside of restaurants. You can go and get your hair done, nails did, everything did. Do you think it's too soon, or let's just go ahead and get out there and see what happens?
Definitely too soon. Every time I'm going to someplace, I got the mask on right now in my car. Again, when you look at history, and the reason why I like to refer to history because there's nothing new under the sun, and history always repeats itself. And learning who you are, you understand your enemy. Those who declare you as an enemy. And understanding that enemy, that enemy has always used biological, chemical, and germ warfare in their approach, especially when dealing with people of color. When you examine how the Western world received or how they were able to accomplish and build America, they destroyed our ancestors, the Native Americans that were here, which were Africans that traveled to this part of the world 300,000-400,000 years ago, before even Europeans were even in the caves. So that's just a part of who they are. I don't see this as anything different. I don't believe that shit just gonna happen out of nowhere. I don't believe it was a coincidence. I don't believe in that bat theory. That they came from a bat. Bats been around for thousands. As long as people been here, damn bats been here. So all of a sudden now, we can't coexist. We're killing each other. Yeah, with the contaminants that you put in the community, and with global warming, that might be a fact. And with your science experiments, I just believe that COVID-19 was in a test tube in NIH or CDC, right next to the test tube that had SARS, and right next to the test tube that had Ebola, right next to the test tube that had HIV. It's just who he is. It's just who he is. And I don't see any evidence of anything else. And that's not what you hear the experts talking about on television. They're not talking about the history of the white man and his biological and chemical warfare, how he dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You don't even got to go that far. You can go to the Tuskegee experiment. You can go to programs that are going on right now in America through Planned Parenthood with the euphemism programs, where they are with little young girls who are 14 and 15 and 16 years old, especially in the South, are going to Planned Parenthood, and they're making them sterile right now under these euphemism programs. So this isn't something that's unlike him. This is who he is. So I don't believe in the pandemic. This is a plandemic. He planned it. He been planning this for a while, and Trump is just the idiot to bring it to fruition. He's a supremacist, a white supremacist. And if you check again history, look at Hitler. People thought Hitler was crazy. People thought Hitler was out of his mind. People thought it was a coincidence. Oh, he's just talking to his base. We don't have to worry about him. Before you knew it, people was getting marched into ovens, and they was getting gassed. Didn't Trump gas those protesters a couple of weeks ago? I mean, people wake up and look what's going on. So I don't believe in no pandemic. This is a plandemic. I believe that it's not going back to anything. I definitely believe it's too early because they didn't kill enough people with the first wave, so they got to send enough people out. Look up culling, C-U-L-L. That was introduced to American policy by Henry Kissinger during the Nixon administration. And what culling means is to eliminate, to exterminate hundreds of thousands to millions of people so that the American government doesn't have to disseminate or distribute the resources equally and evenly amongst the people. So instead of making everybody even and equal, we're just going to kill off 1 million people. We're going to kill 2 million people. And that's what they do every 20, 30, 40 years, and now they up for culling. And that's what this shit is. They are purging.
Wow. I am going to look up all of those things that you talked about, and you know, so you don't think that it's real? You think it's real, but it's plain.
Yes, it's real, but
Okay.
look at it, Momo. Look at this. I want to show you something. Just I'm no religious guy, but in the Bible, who was doing Egypt? I'm not talking Kemet. I'm talking about Egypt, because Egypt is when the Greeks were taking over Kemet, right? So Egypt, what happened when the Hebrews were being persecuted by Pharaoh and his people? Who did they kill off? They killed off the male children. Remember that? And then who else? When you look at animals, or when you look at a lion or any predatory animal that's hunting animals, who do they kill off? They kill off the weak, the old, and the sickly, and the young. Who's dying of COVID? It's first there was those who had pre-existing conditions, right? Then after that, and that was everybody. But then all of a sudden it seemed like our elders were dying off. But when you look at the elders, where's the wisdom in a community? With the elders. So you kill off the elders, kill off the culture, you kill off the history. That's like cutting off the roots of a tree. How does that tree live? It can't. So then, once you do that now you start getting the people with pre-existing conditions. So you got a little diabetes. You got a little cancer, or a little this or a little that. You're chopping off. So then our people had this idea that black people are not dying. Who the fuck put that out there? But then, because we were the number one community dying from it. So I don't believe it is a coincidence. They are knocking us off. And for us to go running out there to go get your nails done, or to get your hair done, your people are going out there to get haircuts and to buy Jordans and do the most foolish things. And even if you have to do those things, what if you do the social distancing and you got your mask on? Well, you seeing people out there all willy-nilly with the babies and the masks. And now as a result, you see the numbers going up.
We have 1 minute and 40 seconds left. I'm so sorry. I love these conversations because right when you get into it, it's like it's time to go, right? Community activists, you have been to Flint, you have been to DC. I mean, you go where the places are to make sure that your voice is heard and that you are in it. Producer of Carib Life ATL, we'll be looking for that. DJ Selector, BWare of Revolution Sound, the East Coast Warriors. Once outside really opens and you ready to go out there, we will be following you for the sound clashes that you'll be involved in. How can we support you? Where can we follow you and see more of what you do?
I'm definitely on all of the social media handles. So you can check me out right here on Instagram at Iyanla Sun. Sun is spelled S-U-N, Iyanla _S-U-N. You can find me also at BWare _Revolution. Same thing on Facebook, BWare, or Damon Van Zant, VANCANT. Also Revolution Sound. Or you can just look up Carib Life ATL. Or you can just Google BWare.
There you go. Thank you so much, brother. I got 18 seconds left.
All
You
right,
guys can
Mom.
follow me at MomoLove1229 and check me out weekdays on the Blazing Radio. Please be safe out there.
Definitely.